Hey everybody, welcome to another video. This one's going to be covering a couple of questions that I had before that were pending about remote play. You know, that big picture mode that Steam has and all of that. With controllers and stuff. Instead of locally, I was testing remotely with Sunshine and Moonlight. So I'll leave the link here. By the way, Sunshine is about to come up with a new version. This one came out 5 days ago, or actually, it said 4 days ago, a couple minutes back. The one that I have is this one from September. That's the one that you're gonna be seeing on the video. And here's the Sunshine running. I just in case I didn't do any of this, the one that I'm using right now is this Sunshine app image. That's the one that I'm using for this. And I run it, and here you have the page. Actually, it's up here. If I click on Open Sunshine, you get the thing here, okay, with all the same information that you're gonna see over here. For the applications, these ones are the ones that show on the device. That's why you're seeing Steam. By default, it comes already preloaded with a not with the correct one. This is just me playing around with, putting a Steam name and running the Steam command and seeing what the hell it does. That's why you're gonna see on the video that it loaded the whole screen, this screen, at 4K, and then I had to press the on the PlayStation controller the middle button for the big picture mode to start, and then it would load the whole thing. Um, so I tested both Moonlight Sunshine versus just the Steam, and you're gonna see a difference between both of them there. For the configuration of Moonlight, here's the whole thing that I have. Input, you can see here. Okay. I was, or at least I was trying to optimize it. Let's just say optimize it for a 4090, 4070, and a 5090 Nvidia cards that I have. Okay. The network is I got a wireless 6 and Nvidia NVM encoder. I left it like this because I think this one it looked very nice, but I mean P4 and up they all look the same for me on a 75-inch TV. But the input latency is what I was noticing. So I left it at P5, which is just perfect. I could lower this or I could lower the resolution. Instead of 4K, it would be 1K 1080, and you would have a much better input latency. But I'll show you with the videos the impact of that on a 75 megabit um, network, wireless network. By the way, I'm using the Google Chrome, the Google TV, the latest one. So so do take that into consideration because maybe there's others that work better. So here are all the all the settings thingamajig that I have. Okay, and that's about it. That's about it. Okay, and for the Sunshine download, I'll leave this link here on the description so you can download it from there. Um, for both the Moonshine and the Steam Remote Play, there's a couple of things that you got. Well, not a couple. Maybe you don't have it set up like that, but let me show you here. Okay, I got two TVs that are connected so I can play from over there. Enable this so the menu, the Steam menu, doesn't lag, and the whole loading of the Steam big picture thing doesn't lag. And there was another option that I enabled. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it's in game. It was something to do with the interface. This one. Enable GPU accelerated rendering web views. That will make your on both the the Steam Play, the Remote Play menus, and the Moonlight Steam menus work properly fast, They won't lag. Let's just put it like that. Even if the whole loading process will be quick. Obviously, you gotta enable anything that you're able to enable at the hardware level. So that's why I'm doing all of this. And if you want the whole thing, if you want Steam to just load with the big picture automatically, then you have this option here. This is mainly affecting the Moonlight because you gotta like click a button there. Other than that, that's all I did here. Apart from the obvious thing, compatibility, setting it up there. Okay. So with that said, let me show you the videos, and I'll be talking on the videos to explain the games that I tested, especially Geometry Dash, because of the how the input latency can affect you on both. Okay. On other games, basically the two things that we're checking: input latency and the quality of the game, on how it looks on a really huge TV, and if there's no issues with that at all between both the Steam Play default and the Moonlight Sunshine Advantage. Okay. Okay, so here we're testing Moonlight first. We're gonna test Moonlight first. I'm testing on a Google TV streamer. So instead of the Chromecast 4K, whatever, the newest one from Google, which has like 32 gigabytes of storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM. I also got um, retro Arch or retro whatever it's called for, Nintendo 64, Sega, and all that. Here you see those two options, the Steam, because those are the ones that I have in Sunshine, and um, that's why there's only two on Moonlight. So okay, let me zoom in here, and yeah, let's play. We're gonna test several games. Okay, we're gonna test games that are input latency critical. Others that their FPS, like Dishonored 2, has a maximum. So you guys can actually see the impact between both Moonlight Sunshine versus Steam Play. So, okay, Dishonored 2 has a limit FPS limits of 120, and movement is not so input latency is not so critical as other games like Geometry Dash. Bear with me because I don't play with controllers. There's exceptions, but not this one. So it's me trying to figure out what in the world. Okay, so this one. There is sound, by the way. There is sound. You can actually hear the sound. The TV is a 75-inch one, so it's a huge TV, and um, that's what you're watching there. And the quality is very good. It's just that do know this video is at 1080, and the rendering on the server on the host and the rendering on the TV it's at 4K on both cases. So, but it does look great. Okay. Now Geometry Dash is a game that the input latency is very critical. Obviously, you won't be able to pass it. So this is me testing it, trying to get used to the latency. Okay, I'm not very good at this game, but I'm not this bad at this game. So that's me. And then here's my daughter playing after her second try, and me like 7 tries later. So she actually got used to the. There's a little bit of input latency. Again, it's 4K. Okay, so I'm pushing this to the max, and that's her just playing there. Okay. So obviously, if you put it, lower 2K or 1080, it's gonna run much better. It runs perfect. Actually, you didn't even notice the latency. Let's try Goat Simulator, or what my daughter calls it, La Cabra Loca, the crazy goat. And the for this particular game, the input it's not noticeable. You don't notice the 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 difference in the input, so you can literally play the game without issues. And the graphics, again, You're looking at it through a camera that I had pointing at the TV, and the TV might look like it's too bright or the graphics are not that good. They're actually perfect. They're exactly like on the computer. In this case, it's the 5091. But if you play on the 4070, um, you play on the 4090 or the 5090, It works great. So I think the most important part here is not so much the video card, but the encoder. Hopefully it supports the NVIDIA NV encoder there, um, and the networking speed. And with that, you're done. Woohoo. So again, 4K, here's where I started feeling a little bit of lag. Not on the game, but on the TV. A little bit, we're talking about. Ugh. Fatality. So now let's try another one. Again, do remember to enable the hardware acceleration and the GPU acceleration for the web on the Steam settings so it doesn't lag. Okay, my daughter here is gonna show you that she can play two-player mode, basically, from the TV. So you can have the home computer, game station somewhere, and everybody up to 4 players here can play without issues whatsoever. I mean, for this one it's two, but you get my point. Games with 4 can be played without issues. And this one also responsive is pretty well. There's no problems there. It's not critical. It doesn't have to be super perfect like on Geometry Dash. And here we're gonna go to that blue blob of thingamajig. And we're gonna play. And you're gonna see how a professional plays. Uh, okay. See, it's not very critical. I'm the red one. Since I don't know how to throw the powers, and because there's like a billion buttons here in the PlayStation controller, I I won't be able to use them. Bloop. Okay. But you can see that, but the fact that we can play up to this point means that the input latency is very good. Okay. And the FPS, you can actually see that it's around 72. It's stuck at around 72 there. And on the computer, you can see this, the GPU is not even being used a lot, just 50%. Nothing. Now we're gonna go to, I think it was Spider-Man or something. So let's check here so you can actually see how different game engines work or behave at least. And the performance of Moonlight Sunshine at the FPS level versus Steam Play. Note that I'm using the latest Steam Play updates from December 2025 versus the Moonlight Sunshine, not from, sorry, December 2025 is the Steam Play versus the Moonlight Sunshine from October, no, September, sorry, the end of September, I think it was. I'm trying to figure out how to glide, you know, be a Spider-Man. So bear with me. Trying to figure out the controllers. Oh, there we go. So it's right button. Okay. The graphics also look awesome, but again, you're seeing this through the eyes of a camera, phone camera, looking at a TV, which has much better graphics, going through a networking of rendering pipelines. But the graphics looks exactly like the computer. Okay, now we're gonna test. You like that effect, right? The fade out effect. Ah, I'm awesome. Okay, now we're gonna test Steam Link. Instead of Moonlight and Sunshine, we're gonna do this one. The fact that Steam Link literally depends on Steam being open, I had to go to the computer, turn it on again, because for the testing I had to reboot the computer from changing from one to the other one and reboot the the Google TV streamer just to start from scratch for each one. Okay. In this case, the streamer has this networking test, which is pretty good. Actually, it helps me diagnose networking issues when there's some networking not related to this, but related to the internal network. So this is also useful for that. So now let's play. And let's try Geometry Dash. And when I started trying Geometry Dash, the first thing that I noticed, input latency. The input latency, let's say that if there was a quarter of a difference or less than a quarter of a difference with um, Moonlight Sunshine by between remote play and playing on the actual host computer. With Steam Play, there was like completely half a second of input latency in Geometry Dash. So it was very, very hard to play. This is my daughter, for example, playing the whole game, and it's super hard. Like even she falls in that hole. So it's very hard to have not only that, but if you press the button a lot of times, the last press comes into play. Like if you press it twice and it's supposed to only tick once, it would tick twice and it will accumulate the presses. So uh, for intensive input latency dependent games, it's a horrible experience. So you can't do 4K. You gotta go down to 2K or 1080. Here's the customization that just in case the customization that I have for both. Okay, for both, so you can see. So on the remote play here, you can see. Well, yeah, I got two TVs connected to this baby. If we keep on going down, you can see the NV frame buffer there for the capture. That's enable hardware encoding. I put 8. You can put up to 12 if you wanted to. I can actually put 12. But you can see all the configuration. It's enhanced 4K with, everything that's super heavy is what I'm trying to say. So I'm showing you how, and it's using AV1 by the way in this particular case. But I'm showing you the worst case possible of how stressful the experience for the whole streaming service would be. 4K at 60 FPS and all that. Okay. So here we can see Spider-Man. The first thing that you're going to notice is, and by the way, the graphics are the same for both. Just this one just happens to be more bright um, on the in game. The day is a little bit more lighter, but you'll notice that the FPS went down by a lot. And I don't this is related obviously with Steam Play because the other one was just leaving it up to the host to handle that part, and Moonlight Sunshine was only rendering the final outcome. In this case, it's there's something going on, and I can actually feel the stutter. I mean, you don't see a stutter on the frame time and the FPS and all that, but if you're used to 60 FPS, you can feel, for those people that know what I'm talking about, you can actually feel the stutter with 30 FPS. In any case, you can still play it, and once you get used to it, okay, all fine and dandy. But do note that the FPS did go down more than 50% on this same game just by changing from Moonlight Sunshine to the Steam Play. So that maybe they gotta fix something there. Okay, because I show you the configuration, which is the same for both, by the way. Both are 4K, both are 60 FPS, same thing. And on Spider-Man, the FPS went down by a lot. So let me show you another one. Let's do. Oh, Hogwarts. Okay, so Hogwarts very, yeah, intensive of all their problems. So here we're getting. I'll put Hogwarts again on Moonlight Sunshine, but let's see how it behaves here. How it loads and all that. Okay, so we're getting a fixed 30 FPS forever. Probably it's a configuration or something because it's actually fixed that 30 FPS. Even though inside Steam Play, I literally set 4K at 60 FPS. Um, so that's something to take into consideration. And even using Steam, uh, exiting Hogwarts and using Moonlight Sunshine exactly as the Steam is set up for Steam Play. So the only thing that I'm changing is instead of using Steam Play, I'm using Remote Play, Steam Remote Play. I'll be using Moonlight Sunshine. That's the only thing that I'm changing. Okay, so I'm going from one to the other one, playing. We'll select this one because of the two options that I have there. Remember, I'm using the Moonlight app image one. So let's do Hogwarts again. Probably we're gonna get what 90 FPS, something. We're gonna get much more than the 30 FPS that was locked in. So there's something going on there. Okay, we're getting 70, but that's because we're in the presentation. Probably we're gonna get less. Oh, okay, we're getting 200 instead of 30. So that is big difference. And meaning Moonlight Sunshine doesn't. It's doing a much better job. Let's just put it like that. Doing a much better job. And even I can see the frame time is super small, like 18, 19 milliseconds. Um, it's much better optimized at the networking level by a lot compared to the other one. I mean, to the official Steam one. So that means that Steam actually made a lot of improvements on the December patch, November or December, I forget which one. But they still need more. Yeah, they still need more. By the way, the graphics don't look this horrible on the video, on the video recording. It just again on the TV, it was looking beautiful, like really, really beautiful. And okay, so I think that this is more than enough. Hope you liked the video because you can see that input latency is one thing that you gotta check. FPS is the other one. What's your networking experience? Obviously, if you're using cable, it will be much better. But hope the video helps. Okay, so thank you. Bye.